The sun shone brightly on Ninjago City. It was, a beautiful day. The ninja were relaxing. They had earned this peace. Kai, the fire ninja, was practicing his fire tricks. Jay, the lightning ninja, was tinkering with a new invention. Cole, the earth ninja, was baking a cake in the kitchen. Zane, the ice ninja, was reading a book on philosophy. Lloyd, the green ninja, was meditating in the garden. Everything was calm, everything was quiet. Too quiet. Little did they know, a new danger was lurking just around the corner. Far away, in the darkest corners of the underworld, a figure was stirring. His name was Noctis. He was a being of immense power, feared by many and known by few. The shadows whispered his name with a mix of reverence and fear. Noctis had always been a figure of mystery, his origins shrouded in the mists of time. Legend spoke of his rise to power, his mastery over dark magic, and his insatiable thirst for control. He was a dark mage of immense power. His abilities were unparalleled, his knowledge of the arcane arts vast and deep. Noctis could bend the very fabric of reality to his will, conjuring spells that could bring kingdoms to their knees. His dark robes flowed like liquid night, and his eyes glowed with an eerie, otherworldly light. He was a force to be reckoned with, a being of pure, unadulterated power. Noctis had been banished to the underworld long ago. His defeat was a tale told by many, a story of hope and triumph over darkness. The first Spinjitzu master, a legendary figure in his own right, had faced Noctis in a battle that shook the very foundations of the world. The clash of their powers had been cataclysmic, a struggle between light and dark that left scars on the land and echoes in the hearts of those who witnessed it. He was defeated by the first Spinjitzu master. The battle was fierce, a testament to the strength and determination of both combatants. In the end, the first Spinjitzu master emerged victorious, banishing Noctis to the underworld and sealing him away from the world of the living. But even in defeat, Noctis's spirit remained unbroken. He was a being of resilience, his will as unyielding as the darkness he commanded. But Noctis never gave up hope of escape. He was a patient man, willing to bide his time and wait for the perfect moment. The underworld was a place of torment and despair, but Noctis found solace in his plans for revenge. He knew that one day, he would return to the world above, and when he did, he would make those who had wronged him pay dearly. He had waited patiently for centuries. Time moved differently in the underworld, and Noctis used this to his advantage. He honed his skills, delving deeper into the dark arts and expanding his knowledge. He became more powerful with each passing year, his resolve growing stronger. The shadows were his constant companions, whispering secrets and feeding his desire for vengeance. He was plotting his revenge. Every detail was meticulously planned, every possible outcome considered. Noctis was a master strategist, his mind sharp and cunning. He knew that when the time came he would strike with precision and fury, leaving nothing to chance. His enemies would fall before him, and the world would tremble at his return. He had listened to the whispers of the shadows. They were his allies, his confidants. They told him of the world above, of the changes that had taken place in his absence. They spoke of Ninjago, a land of peace and prosperity, a place that had forgotten the terror of his reign. The shadows fed his anger, stoking the flames of his hatred and fueling his desire for retribution. They told him of Ninjago's peace. The land was thriving, its people living in harmony. It was a stark contrast to the chaos and destruction that Noctis had once brought. The thought of such tranquility filled him with rage. How dare they live in peace while he suffered in the underworld? How dare they forget the power and fear he once commanded? They told him of the ninja. These warriors were the protectors of Ninjago, the defenders of its peace. They were skilled and brave, but Noctis saw them as mere obstacles in his path. He would crush them one by one and reclaim his place as the true ruler of the land. The ninja were nothing compared to his power, and he would prove it. They told him the time was right. Noctis smiled, a cruel, chilling smile. The moment he had been waiting for had finally arrived. The stars had aligned, the omens were clear. It was time for him to return to the world above, to reclaim what was rightfully his. His heart raced with anticipation, his mind filled with visions of conquest and revenge. It was time for him to return. Noctis stepped out of the shadows, his form materializing in the dim light. He was ready. The world would soon remember his name, and the shadows would once again whisper of his power. The time of Noctis had come, and nothing would stand in his way. With a surge of dark energy, Noctis shattered the chains that bound him. He was free. His laughter echoed through the underworld, striking fear into the hearts of even the most fearsome creatures. He summoned his army of shadow warriors. They were beings of pure darkness, loyal only to him. They would help him conquer Ninjago. The ground trembled as Noctis and his army marched towards the portal that connected the underworld to Ninjago. The time for revenge was now. Back in Ninjago City, the ninja felt a disturbance in the force. A cold wind swept through the monastery, the sky darkened. Suddenly, a young girl appeared in the center of the training courtyard. She had long black hair and bright green eyes. She wore simple clothes and carried a wooden staff.
Who are you?
My name is Maya, and I bring a warning. Noctis has returned.
The ninja gathered around Maya, their faces grim. They had heard stories of Noctis. He was a legend.
What does he want?
To shroud Ninjago in eternal darkness, he wants revenge.
But he can be stopped. There's a prophecy.
Maya nodded.
The prophecy of light, it speaks of a crystal of light hidden in the deepest dungeon of Ninjago. Only it can defeat Noctis.
The ninja knew what they had to do. They had to find the crystal of light before Noctis did. They set out at once, with Maya as their guide. They journeyed for days, through dense forests and treacherous mountains. They faced many dangers along the way. Giant spiders, venomous snakes, and even a grumpy dragon. But they never gave up. They knew the fate of Ninjago rested on their shoulders. They had to be brave. Finally, they reached the entrance to the dungeon. It was a dark and forbidding place. The air was thick with the smell of decay and fear.
Are you sure about this? It looks pretty creepy down there.
Don't worry, Jay, we'll face it together.
And so they entered the dungeon. It was even worse than they imagined. The walls were lined with skeletons. The air was filled with whispers and moans. The dungeon was a maze of twisting corridors and crumbling chambers. Each turn brought a new challenge, a new terror. But the ninja faced them all with courage and determination. Finally, they reached the heart of the dungeon, and there, on a pedestal in the center of a large chamber, lay the crystal of light. It pulsed with a warm golden light, filling the chamber with hope. But their joy was short-lived, for standing before them, blocking their path to the crystal, was Noctis.
So the ninja have come to play, but you are too late. The crystal of light will be mine.
Not if we can help it.
Lloyd shouted, drawing his energy blade. The other ninja followed suit, surrounding Noctis. They fought fiercely, their elemental powers clashing with Noctis's dark magic. The chamber shook with the force of their battle, but even with their combined might, the ninja were no match for Noctis. He was too powerful. Just when all hope seemed lost, Maya stepped forward. The air was thick with tension, and the darkness seemed to close in from all sides. The fate of the world hung in the balance, and every eye was on her. With a deep breath, she gathered all her courage and determination. She raised her staff high above her head. The staff, a symbol of hope and power, began to glow with an intense light. It was as if the very essence of the universe was channeling through her, ready to unleash its might.
For the light! The cry echoed through the battlefield, a rallying call for all who stood against the darkness. It was a declaration of their unwavering resolve and their belief in the power of good.
A surge of pure energy flowed from Maya's staff, striking Noctis with blinding force. The beam of light cut through the darkness like a knife, illuminating the battlefield and revealing the true form of the villain. Noctis, once a figure of terror, now seemed vulnerable and exposed. He roared in pain and anger as his power began to weaken. The dark energy that had once surrounded him like an impenetrable shield now flickered and waned. His cries were a mix of rage and desperation, a stark contrast to the triumphant shouts of the heroes. The ninja, empowered by Maya's magic and the light of the crystal, renewed their attack. They moved with a newfound vigor, their weapons glowing with the same light that emanated from Maya's staff. Each strike was more powerful than the last, and the tide of the battle began to turn. They fought with everything they had, pushing Noctis back, inch by inch. The battlefield was a flurry of motion, with heroes and villains clashing in a desperate struggle. But the light was winning, and the darkness was being driven back. Finally, with a deafening blast of energy, Noctis was vanquished. The explosion of light was so intense that it seemed to shake the very ground beneath them. The dark figure of Noctis was consumed by the light, his form disintegrating into nothingness. He vanished into a cloud of smoke and ash, leaving behind only an eerie silence. The battlefield, once filled with the sounds of combat, was now quiet. The heroes stood in the aftermath, their breaths heavy but their spirits high. They had triumphed, and the light had prevailed. The ninja collapsed to their knees, exhausted but victorious. The battle had been long and grueling, testing their limits in ways they had never imagined. Each of them bore the marks of their struggle, their faces smeared with dirt and sweat, their bodies aching from the relentless combat. Yet, despite the fatigue that weighed heavily on their shoulders, a sense of triumph filled their hearts. They had faced the darkness and emerged victorious, their unity and determination shining through the chaos of battle. The crystal of light pulsed warmly, bathing the chamber in its golden glow. Maya smiled. The artifact, a beacon of hope and power, had been the key to their victory. Its radiant energy filled the room, casting away the shadows that had threatened to engulf their world. Maya, the wise and courageous leader, felt a deep sense of satisfaction as she looked at the crystal. It was a symbol of their resilience and the light that would guide them through future challenges.
You did it. Ninjago is safe thanks to you. The words echoed in the chamber, a testament to the bravery and skill of the ninja. They had faced insurmountable odds and emerged victorious, their bond stronger than ever. The gratitude in the mentor's voice was palpable, a recognition of the sacrifices and efforts that had led to this moment of peace.
The ninja returned to Ninjago City, where they were greeted as heroes. The streets were lined with cheering citizens, their faces alight with joy and relief. Banners fluttered in the breeze, and the air was filled with the sound of celebration. The ninja walked through the crowd, their hearts swelling with pride and gratitude. They had fought not just for themselves, but for the people of Ninjago, and seeing the happiness on their faces made every hardship worthwhile. Peace had returned to the land. The once tumultuous city now basked in tranquility, its streets adorned with festive decorations. The citizens went about their daily lives with a renewed sense of hope and security. The threat that had loomed over them had been vanquished, and for the first time in a long while they could breathe easy, knowing that their protectors had ensured their safety. But they knew it wouldn't last forever. The ninja, ever vigilant, understood that peace was a fragile thing. They had seen the darkness that lurked in the corners of their world, and they knew that it could return at any moment. Their eyes scanned the horizon, always on the lookout for signs of trouble. They had won this battle, but the war for Ninjago's safety was far from over. There would be other threats, other battles to fight. The ninja resumed their training with renewed vigor, honing their skills and preparing for the challenges that lay ahead. They gathered in strategic discussions, planning and strategizing for any eventuality. Their bond, forged in the heat of battle, was unbreakable, and they knew that together they could face whatever came their way. As Maya prepared to return to her own land, she turned to the ninja with a knowing smile. Her journey with them had been transformative, and she had seen firsthand the strength and courage that defined them. She knew that they were more than capable of protecting Ninjago, but she also understood that their path would be fraught with challenges. Her smile was one of confidence and encouragement, a silent promise that she would always be with them in spirit.
This isn't the end, it's only the beginning. The words were spoken with a quiet determination, a resolve that burned brightly in the eyes of the ninja. They understood that their journey was far from over, and that each victory was just a step towards a greater destiny. Their hearts were filled with a sense of purpose, and they were ready to face whatever the future held.
And with that, she was gone. The ninja watched her go, knowing that their adventures were far from over. They stood in silence, reflecting on the journey they had shared and the battles they had fought. The departure of Maya marked the end of one chapter, but the beginning of another. They knew that their path would be filled with challenges, but they were ready to face them head on. They were ready. They were the ninja. Their resolve was unshakable, their spirits unbreakable. They had faced the darkness and emerged stronger, their bond uniting them in a common purpose. They stood together, ready to protect their home and their people, no matter the cost, and they would always protect Ninjago. The city stretched out before them, a testament to their courage and dedication. They knew that as long as they stood together, Ninjago would remain safe. Their journey was far from over, but they were ready for whatever lay ahead. They were the guardians of Ninjago, and they would always be there to defend it.